So my first backpacking trip ever was a thru-hike attempt of the Appalachian Trail. I was 25 at the time and I was going to do it completely solo. I personally wasn't that nervous to do it, but I know my family was. I feel like this is something that a lot of people can relate to who are planning a thru-hike soon. I get a lot of DMs on Instagram and people asking for advice on how to deal with concerned parents or significant others at home. So those are the topics that I want to cover in this video and share with you my experience just telling my family I was going to thru-hike the AT by myself. So it was around 2018 or 2019 when I made the decision to thru-hike. So it was a while ago. I don't remember the conversations that well. I honestly forget how she reacted to me telling her I was gonna hike the AT. I figured she'd be nervous.
I would have to say initially scared to death. But I knew that you were an experienced hiker, so I just really needed to know what the AT was, what it involved. I guess when you first told me, I didn't realize it was 2,193 miles.
My dad, I think, was the most nervous because he thought I was gonna be totally isolated on this trail and just sleep in the middle of the woods by myself and just be totally on my own. But he didn't realize that there were specific shelters and hostels along the trail that hikers would congregate at, so I'd never be really by myself because the AT is so populated. So once he realized that I was going to be around other hikers who were all going to be doing the same thing as me, I think that made him feel a lot better. So my biggest piece of advice is, if you're about to thru-hike and your parents are worried, is to educate them as much as you can on what it's going to be like out on the trail. So my parents have never really hiked or backpacked, so we really had to start with the basics and just kind of tell them what life on the trail is going to be like and what kind of experience I'm gonna have. You can show them the type of gear that you're gonna be carrying, you can show them what shelters look like, how hostels work. You can pull up the ATC website and show them how many other hikers are gonna be starting on the same day as you. I feel like that's really helpful because the day I started, there'd be 50 other hikers. So I had physical proof, look mom, look dad, I'm not gonna be alone out there. You can show them vlogs from hikers who have done the AT before. You can have a movie night and watch my AT documentary if you want. I just think it's super important to get them as familiar with the trail beforehand as you can.
So what eased my mind about you doing it was we were up in Lincoln, and we went to check out a business opportunity, and we went out for lunch, and we sat down at the restaurant, and you said, Mom, that's a thru-hiker. I'm like, how do you know that? And you could tell by his backpack. I think he had the AT emblem hanging from his backpack. So he walked into the restaurant and I said, hey, AT, and he looked over at us. I go, come sit down with me right now. I have a lot of questions. Taylor's just told me she's going to hike the AT next year. Can I buy you lunch and you answer 100 questions? And it was really fun. I asked him the good, the bad, the ugly, and he was awesome. He was a medic from Virginia, so I was talking to the right person about it, and I felt very, very comfortable after 100 questions of you doing it.
Now there are Facebook groups for people thru-hiking on specific years, and I've seen parents join these Facebook groups, which I think could be really helpful. That way they can see posts that other hikers are asking and they can read through the comments, and if your parents have a question themselves, they can type it in and get some feedback. So I think that's a good way to get them involved a little bit. I think another fun idea is to get them a map of the AT that they can hang up in their house and they can follow along your journey. So I sell these maps in my gift shop. I can put the link below. And my parents had one of them, and every time I would send them an update, they would find where I am on that map and they could move the pin up along the way. I think that's super fun because then they have an idea of where you are and they know what you're going to experience next, so they can kind of virtually do the AT with you and they can get excited for things and be like, oh my god, you're gonna reach the Smoky Mountains soon, or wow, you're almost halfway there, and just fun little things like that that I think could get your parents excited. Something else that was really important with my parents was that I carried a Garmin InReach, which is like a satellite communicator. They got one for me for my birthday before I started the trail, and it just gave them a huge peace of mind that I had an SOS button available. If I ever did get into danger, I could call for help with or without cell phone service. So that gave them a huge peace of mind. I never really communicated with them with the Garmin InReach, but them knowing that I had one made them feel a lot better. Now there's this book called Hiking from Home, a long-distance hiking guide for family and friends. It's by Juliana Chauncey, who has thru-hiked the AT and the PCT before, and she wrote this book giving advice to parents or just like any family or loved ones on how they can support someone through hiking. And it's really helpful. It goes over a lot of information that I think could be helpful for parents to know. So it just goes over every aspect of a hike, from the basics to the logistics, safety, how to stay in touch with someone through hiking, how to support them before, during, and after their through hike. So this is super helpful. It's on Amazon. I can put the link in the description. I bought this for my parents the second it came out. Like literally I was order number 1 because I just thought it would be so helpful for them to just learn more about the AT. It's just got so much good information in there. Also, if it's possible, having your parents visit you on the trail can be really helpful. That way they can see it firsthand what the trail is going to be like. My parents visited a handful of times, and they got to meet the people that I hiked most of the Appalachian Trail with, which I think made them feel a lot better. And it was just really exciting for them to be a part of the journey.
This put me at all ease. Is your dad and I took a trip to Marion, Virginia to visit, and we pulled up. We weren't excited to see you in a 1-star hotel, but you assured us that well, it's probably better than sleeping in the outdoors. But we met the 2 guys, Big Green and Cody, that you had met up with and you were hiking with. So obviously we felt great because you were hiking with 2 guys, and we felt, you know, you were safe. And I'll never forget, Dad went to the office to buy the guys their room because you were coming to the hotel with us for the night, and thank them for, you know, looking out for you. And they're like, what are you talking about? She's our lead. Like, she's showing us the way. And then obviously spending 2 or 3 days with them as you hike that section of the AT, it was awesome. Like, I felt 100% comfortable. And then you pretty much said, it looks like I'm going to just do this whole trip with them, you know. So how could I worry? Because they were good guys, and it was very, very comfortable for me.
Now I want to talk a little bit more about through hiking when you have a significant other at home. So this was honestly a much easier conversation to have. Chet was my boyfriend at the time. It didn't take much convincing at all because me hiking the AT was actually his idea. Chet would notice me at home watching a lot of Appalachian Trail content, whether it was vlogs on YouTube or different documentaries. I was just so fascinated with the idea of through hiking, and he realized that. I never really thought about planning a through hike myself. I was just content with watching content about the Appalachian Trail until he kind of came up to me and was like, why don't you go for it? Why don't you do that yourself? And I remember being like really excited and surprised and be like, you think so? You think I could go and do that? He was like, for sure. So he was so supportive from the second that I decided to hike the AT. So that was a relief. So I feel really lucky about that situation. I didn't have to like sit him down and have the conversation and like blindside him and break the news that I was going to leave for 5 months. It just came really naturally and easy. Once I did get on trail, it was a little tough at some points because I was out there experiencing this amazing thing that I had planned for a couple years, and I was meeting all these new people. I was in a new place every single day, and it was just really exciting and like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Meanwhile, Chet was at home kind of doing the same thing every single day. It was the normal go to work, go home, go to sleep routine. So it was a little bit different, but I think we managed well. I feel like we didn't put too much pressure on ourselves to have a lot of communication while I was through hiking. He did call me every day after work, and most of the time I was able to answer and we could chat about our days for a little bit. But it did get frustrating at times because often the calls would drop and I wouldn't be able to call him back, or I'd lose service. And so moments like that did get a little frustrated, but we would always talk every day, whether it was a long phone call or just a quick text from the Garmin InReach telling him I was at camp. We did stay up to date on things that were happening on my thru hike and things that were happening in his life back home, so we had good communication. At times I did feel a little guilty that I didn't talk to him as much as I thought I should have. But I always just kept in mind that it was temporary, and within a couple months I'd be back home, we'd be living together again, and things would go back to normal. What I think helped a lot being apart from Chet for so long is that he has a lot of hobbies. So my piece of advice is, if you're leaving a significant other at home, make sure they have good hobbies to keep them occupied. If they wanted to learn guitar, this would be a great opportunity for them to do that. Chet really likes TV shows and movies, so he had a lot of time to catch up on that because I don't really like watching movies that much. So he had a lot of things to keep him busy, and I think that really helped. He was really supportive the whole time. There wasn't a doubt in his mind that I wasn't able to thru hike the AT, and we both just kind of knew and understood the situation we were in, so it really wasn't as much of an issue as some may think it would be. And he did get to visit me once on trail, which was really nice. I took a 00. We went to a wedding together, saw the whole family, and he did get to hike up Katahdin with me and see me finish the Appalachian Trail. So it was nice having him a part of the journey, even though he wasn't hiking with me. Thru hiking season is just a couple months away, so I'm sure there's a bunch of people in the position right now about to do their first thru hike and having these conversations with their family and their loved ones. So hopefully me sharing my experience and getting my family on board, me solo hiking the AT, can help someone and hopefully give you guys some ideas on how you can ease the mind of those people while you're thru hiking. So I appreciate you watching. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments and maybe I can make a Q&A video soon. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. And if I told you I was going to thru hike again, what would your reaction this time be?
I'll be super excited because I visited you 9 times and I saw 9 beautiful places in along the Appalachian Trail in America that I had never visited. So for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to pick out the places where I'm going to come visit and be a part of that journey again.